Your guys' success with this procedure is going to start in hygiene. That is the focus. When I shared my long-term vision and gave context, what are the things we need to do today to get one step closer to that vision? The team was like, oh, I get it. That's why we're doing this. And so something to know that your guys' success with this procedure is going to start in hygiene. That is the focus. And if you guys take anything away, know that if you and your team don't start the conversation in hygiene, you're already behind the 8 ball. So you don't need to wait for patients to ask. You guys gotta start taking initiative on that. On the topic of like how to get team buy-in for wellness scans. So the mistake that I made early on was I just didn't involve them. In the beginning, I was so gung-ho on wanting to be starting cases and do it. And I got a little bit of pushback from them. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do it all by myself. And it was good because it worked. I started cases, but then eventually I started to burn out on doing it all by myself because it is a heavy load having to do every single person's job. And the way you do that is you got to communicate with them. If you don't talk to your team, why would they do it, right? You have to communicate. And it's more than just, hey, go do this. It's a conversation. And what I personally like to do is I like to lead with positivity and compliment them on things that they do well. So don't wait. Sometimes, and I made this mistake early on, is a lot of the times when I'm interacting with my team, I'm kind of almost telling them the things that they did wrong, or I'm telling them the things that they forgot, or the things that, hey, you forgot this instrument. Hey, we need some articulating paper. Where's the cotton rolls? Like stuff like that. And if that's the only interaction that you have with your team, it's just negative. You're just criticizing at that point, and giving them the compliments on a regular basis for the most basic and mundane things. It kind of like built up this goodwill and like this kind of, call it positivity bucket with them. So when I gave them criticism or feedback, it it kind of just made them going from, oh, doc's awesome, I'm doing a great job, to like, okay, it's like a little bit lower. And then it's like, all right, how do I, it's not as drastic of like when you're not filling that bucket, called the positivity bucket, and it's empty. And anytime you talk to them, it's down, down, down. It's negative, negative, negative. They're less likely to do it. There's more resentment. It starts to build this like toxic culture because now it's like, oh, you know, I'm just someone that I'm essentially supposed to just know all this stuff and be told what to do. And you don't want that because it's exhausting to have to constantly tell your team what to do, right? You want them to just do it. So it just takes a little bit of work up front. What I realized is when I shared my long-term vision and gave context, when I translated that down to, okay, what are the things we need to do today to get one step closer to that vision? The team was like, oh, I get it. Like, that's why we're doing this. It's not just like, I need to take a scan on a patient, not just because we're scanning every patient, but we're doing this for this bigger vision that doc has for the practice. And that's what they tie to. And know that you're going to get pushback, right? Even if you do all these things, you share the vision, you take time, you compliment, you do all that, you're still going to get pushback. So I'm not saying you're not going to get it. I'm just saying that it's going to happen. But when you do these other things, you kind of build that buffer up. And whenever they have issues, you want to support them, right? So you want to support them by making sure that they know that you have their back. And when they know that you have their back and that you are willing to work with them in the beginning, they are going to be more likely to be open to at least trying, because that's all we want. In the beginning, we want the team to just try, and then you grow together, okay? Something that some doctors will do is they'll just rely on the reps, right? Implant system, new thing coming in, whatever. Hey, just train the team for me, please. Like, do some lunch and learns. Like, I'm busy. Sure, that rep may be a phenomenal trainer, and the team loves them, and they're bought in, and they do it. But then when that rep leaves, it's a massive hole because you don't know what they really trained them on. And if you try to like, right, and now you're playing catch up. You're trying to hold them accountable after the fact. And so I'm not saying don't use the rep, but I'm saying you have to be, again, the leader. You have to bring this up first, show them that this is the direction that you want to go. The rep is meant to support and supplement everything, because what you're creating is you're creating a new standard. So diving in, right? How do you support them? How do you actually, get that across to them? And what it is you have to share with them your goals. And so the goal for everyone is, if you're not scanning regularly in hygiene, the goal is we want our team to do the scans. These wellness scans are good because they actually show our patients, right, what is going on in their mouth. It also acts as initial records and all that good stuff. But basically, the way I like to communicate it is, now that you know my goals, what's preventing you from doing scans and hygiene, and how can I help you, right? 9 out of 10 times, they're gonna say they don't have enough time, right? They're gonna be like, "Hey doc, I just don't have enough time in my appointment right now. I'm already doing perioprobing, X-ray, this and that, and I just don't have time to do another, like to do a scan. There's not enough room." And so this is where you have to help them, because they just told you their issue is time. So that, to me, if they don't have time, that sounds like a time management issue. So you have to help them prioritize how they're using their time. So the actionable thing here is, hey, you don't have time. I totally hear you. Unfortunately, right now, we can't extend the times of these appointments because it just has a massive domino effect on the practice. What I would love to do is just sit down with you and talk about, how do your appointments go? How much time are you spending on each thing? And then maybe there's a way that we can find a couple minutes to just give you to be able to scan. And when you do that, now they're like, "Oh, like doc is gonna spend some time with me and talk about this? Cool." And what it does is it forces them to actually write everything down. And so the other thing is, like, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I've never scanned before. It takes me 20 minutes to do it." That's totally normal because it is a new skill. And with anything, you have to practice that thing to get better. And so the one thing that I like to tell them is, look, scanning is not, it's not like an adjunct or optional thing. It is a record that we need to be giving our patients, right? And the same way that we take x-rays is now scans are going to be basically at the same value amount, in terms of, like, we need it because it makes everybody better. It makes us better because we can see more with the hygienist. It improves patient communication because you can actually show them what's going on. Like, it's 2025. And yeah, I get it. Dentistry has only had, like, x-rays for a while, and then like intraoral photos became a thing. Having a scan is phenomenal because of the number of things you can do with it. And and so what I say is, like, look, we're raising the standard of care. It's very important to us. If that's something that, you would you like to be a part of raising the standard of care for our patients? And if they say no, great. Probably Probably not a good fit. We should probably talk about getting a replacement. But they're probably going to say, "Yeah, of course, doc. I want to raise the standard of care." Cool. So in order for us to raise the standard of care, we've got this piece of equipment that can actually elevate our patient experience and give them a level of care that, you know, is truly different than most offices in our area. And so that is my goal. I want to raise the standard of care, and I know that you want to be a part of it. In order for us to do that, we have to scan these patients. And so I know right now it takes a long time, but I'll work with you to get faster at that. But the goal is, a year from now, we are scanning every patient. But today and moving forward, we just need to start with 2 a day, right? 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. 2 a day, that's it. Over time, you're doing it essentially at the recare interval. So basically every appointment, the patient is either getting an x-ray, or they're getting radiographs, or they're getting a scan. So that way you always have something alternating at those recare appointments. And all new patients get scans. It's part of that new patient experience. And then if they push back again, you let them know, look, when you, like, because part of it is going to be timing. Like, look, when you first started taking x-rays, coming out of hygiene school, or when you're getting trained, how long did that take you? It's like, "Oh, it took me a while, blah, blah, blah." How long does it take you to do full mouth series now? "Oh, a couple minutes." Cool. What changed? "Oh, right? They'll connect the dots. They've done it a lot. They practiced. And so that's it. And so a lot of this stuff is just their resistance to change, right? A lot of humans don't like change, especially the dental team. They just don't like it. And so these are just ways that you can essentially get them to do something that you want them to do, but in a very empowering way. Morning huddles, highly recommend it, mainly because you can just attack your day, right? By actually seeing what's on the schedule and how to essentially maximize opportunity. It gives everyone a touch point to be able to kind of talk and communicate. So during morning huddles, that's when we would usually select the patients to scan. In the beginning, like I said, it's 2 scans a day. So look at the schedule, look who's coming in either for a new patient exam. If they're coming in for a new patient exam, pick that, because that is naturally a longer appointment. So let's say you've got new patient in the morning and the afternoon, bang, those are the 2 scans for that hygienist. Let's say there's no new patient exams that day, it's a bunch of recares. Cool. Then what I would do is I would go through and I would try to select patients who have potentially ortho coverage. And the reason why is I'm not trying to directly link a scan to clear aligner therapy, but in terms of a, you know, return on the effort, I would rather, if the team is doing a scan, you do it on a patient that we would potentially be doing aligners on so that it's one less step in the process versus randomly scanning somebody. And to know who has ortho coverage or not, like a key tip to use and have your team do is like part of their end of day, your treatment coordinator, front desk, whoever it is, um, manager, it doesn't matter. End of day, they should look for the following day who has ortho coverage, just go through all the patients and then just put, OC on their chart in their notes so that when those patients come in the next day and you're getting into the meat of these conversations, you know right off the bat if they have coverage or not. And then you can kind of frame the conversation accordingly.